Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Welcome to the Apollo Audio Podcast.
Yo, yo.
I'm Martin Lumsden, producer and engineer.
And I'm Billy, and I've got some new pedals this week. I'm going to do something different. I'm a pedal enthusiast this week.
I came in and there was interesting guitar sounds happening.
Interesting. They were interesting, to be fair, weren't they?
Fascinating and interesting.
Yes. I've gone
That's
for...
nice. So how much, I mean, when you say you've got a new pedal board, is this a whole new thing?
No, I bought a few new pedals. I basically bought two of the exact same ones I had before, but better versions of them.
Okay.
So I bought a new noise gate because I was struggling a bit with that, and it was too fiddly. I had three knobs on it, and I bought one that just has one now. Just
That
basically goes like
life
off
easier.
and on.
Off and on.
And I bought a tap tempo delay, so
Nice.
basically you don't have to keep changing settings in between songs.
That's good.
And then I bought
Sensible.
basically I'm the biggest Limp Bizkit rip-off fan, guitarist. So I've got his guitar, and I thought I'd buy his pedal. It's got a CF7 flanger, which I'm only using for one setting, and I'm just going to leave it like that now. And it sounds like my way.
That's all right.
So that's what I was just dialing in the tones before you came.
Nice.
Making some interesting noises.
I think that's good. Like dialing in your tone. I love that. That sounds professional.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Can you use neat pedals for... I suppose your version of pedals are plugins, really, aren't they?
Well, I've got a preference for actually tracking things the way that they're supposed to sound. So I do like if an artist is actually got a sound, like you've got a pedal board and you've got a sound, I'd want to record that because that's what you sound like. I wouldn't want to have to reinvent it because that seems pointless. But I do track with artists who want to put guitars on but don't have pedal boards or sounds or even amps sometimes.
Yeah.
So I do use modelling for that. But even then, I feel I've got a have you come across Tonex? Tonex and Kempfer are the big one.
Yeah.
You do that amp modelling thing basically. So use one thing and you can get whatever.
We don't
sounds you
need
want.
amps anymore. That and Quad Cortex.
That's
They're
right.
the massive
And
ones.
that's even then. I was going to say I have used plugins, but actually I've now moving back towards even if we are going to use modelling to find a sound. Again, my preference is to record it that way rather than have it running as a back-end plugin. So run it through the model and record that rather than record the dry signal and add the model to it. Because I really got caught out on that, I feel, on an album I produced last year. And even though we were tracking the sound through a modelling plugin, so we're like, yeah, that's the sound we want for this.
Yeah.
When I got to the post-production mix part of it, it didn't feel quite right. So if we'd recorded and it wasn't quite right, I'd have to kind of go, well, what are we going to do then? Either retrack it or live with it. But because it had the plugin on it, I could play with it.
Yeah.
And because I was playing with it, it probably took about 3 times as long as it should have done.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, because I just like trying things out.
Yeah.
And it would have been much better just to have nailed it down in the first place. So my preference is always, let's get the sound that we want at the time rather than play with it afterwards. So that's why I like that idea, the fact that you're working on your sound.
Yeah.
Like just here by yourself with your pedal board going, like, this is the sound I want.
Yeah, well, I've got band practice later, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it was all set up so I'm not faffing around wasting other people's time. And also, I'm always like that in a studio. Like, you might have an engineer might have these new plugins, but look, this is mainly for live stuff.
Yeah.
And during our last recordings, we used half our sounds, if not all of them had some version of the pedal board. I don't think we didn't use that was on there. Had a bit of slapback delay, but then also you want to make sure your delay is tight with the recording. So when you're recording, you can set it to the exact BPM.
Yeah.
So that's the only real one we used.
Yeah.
Digital sort of one we used on there, and all the rest were all the sort of real pedals.
I think, slightly, I would say I agree. I think effects like reverbs and delays, I will quite often request that we take a lot of that off when we're actually tracking, because it's a lot easier to put that on afterwards. But the basic tone,
the tone, absolutely,
much better to get. But and if there is if it's a vibey thing with the delay and you want to hear that whilst you're playing, that obviously makes a difference as well. But sometimes to actually track that or have it as a separate input rather than actually tracking can help. But there's no right way to do that either. But I have had scenarios where it's like, distortion's another one, just like, let's rein it back, because we can always, it's harder to take it off than add it.
Yeah.
So we feel like we want a little bit of a more saturated or a more distorted sound, I can push it in post.
Yeah.
Whereas if we've tracked it too heavily distorted, and you just end up with a big sort of
that's what I learned last
horrible sound, you go like, I can't, what do I do now?
Most important thing about that is actually hearing the notes that are being played. We got this distortion that sounded really heavy in the mix, but when you played it by itself, almost sounded, it didn't sound clean, but it was so much clarity in the chords that you played.
Yes.
And that's what you want. And then you can make it sound bigger in other areas. The drums make it sound heavy and everything else.
Yeah.
So you don't want an overbearing sound of distortion in the mix.
Yeah, it can work, but not too much. As I said, it's better to err on the side of less rather than more.
Yeah.
Because you can always add it in, but taking it off is harder. I'll tell you what, here's a little tip that's good is good for something like that, is if you are going for a really heavy distorted sound and you're tracking it, try and get the clean direct sound as well. Not necessarily for any other reason other than editing. If you need to edit anything later, you get clean transients on the dry signal. And obviously it's matching because you're recording it at the same time.
Yeah.
So then if you do need to make any edits or change anything, it's a lot easier to edit relative to the dry signal than the distorted signal.
Yeah, definitely.
That's true of reverbs as well, things like that. So
one last thing.
That was a tip I learned early on.
I was spoke to my bass player Harry about it, because I was getting all these pedals. We've been pestering to get this pedal for ages. And I finally gave in. He said, why don't you just get the quad cortex? So then ones like that, you can literally just download people's pedals and sounds like that. But it sort of loses its gimmick. Like, I want to buy unlimited pedals. If I just have something that has everything on the planet of it, you sort of lose the fun of it.
Yeah.
Like, I got this amp, I saved up for this 5150 we're sitting in front of right now.
Yeah.
Because I want that sound. If I could just have every single amp on the planet, it sort of like loses its sort of edge, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The fact I've got it and it's real and I can look at it.
And it's yours.
Yeah.
And it's distinct. And we talked a bit about this last time, didn't we? About that. I might be trying to replicate a sound that I've heard before, but I can only get as near as I can get. And by not getting quite there, it'll sound different.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if I can just like press a button and I get that exact replica, they'll be like, oh, you just sound like everyone else then. Because everyone's doing that. Everyone who wants that sound is going to press that same button and have that same sound.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're only near to that sound...
then you create your own edge.
Or
No, I'm not adding pedals
I thought
to it.
that was what that sounded like, but it's not quite the same, but it sounds cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Basically, pedals are vinyl and quad cortex is like streaming. That's the equivalent of it.
Yeah, there you go.
And there's some, I know we chat about AI every single week now, but we've seen it in like mastering AI and like with digital, more plugins. I don't know if you can actually incorporate into pedals, but there's so much of this thing now with pedals. Like I've got an analog and tape delay on there.
Yeah.
And I could have a standard or digital delay, but everyone loves that warmth and sort of sound on it.
Yeah.
And there's this sort of like throwback sort of sound. And
Spring reverbs.
Yeah. I saw this really, really cool pedal where you can actually, it's not the spring reverb, it's like a tape delay, sorry.
Yeah.
And they've exposed the tapes in the box so you could see the actual tapes working.
Yeah.
I find that mad. That's so cool.
Yeah, I saw that. That's really cool. When I was in a band, when we were playing live, our lead guitarist had one pedal.
Wow.
I don't even know what it did.
Tuner, hopefully. Tuner or distortion.
He definitely had a tuning, but it wasn't a tuning pedal.
Oh, wow.
But I suspect it was some kind of drive or distortion.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think that he probably would have done that was a clean sound and a driven sound.
Yeah.
But that was it. One pedal, nothing else.
Yeah. Well, that's what I say to my students. As like, your must-haves, if you're starting out and you could afford to get pedals, to stand out from any other teenage band, you need a tuning pedal. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to be tuning out loud, you use it as a kill switch, and you want some sort of overdrive distortion for dynamics. You don't have to be in a metal band to use distortion, but like to kick into a chorus, you want some sort of overdrive for sound difference. That should be your staple, and then you can add in your choruses and delays and reverbs. They're not essential to a sound, but I think you don't really see any guitarist just plug in straight and dry.
No.
Bass you can sort of get away with, but then there's also preamps and stuff like that. But just dynamically, I think you need those.
The amps have got different drives on them.
Even if you're using the pedal on the amp, that's still
push the gain
that's still a pedal,
on the amp rather than the volume and all that kind of stuff to change it. But I completely agree with you, and I would add to that because it is a sort of a common mistake I do get with bands when I'm working live in studio and live performance as well, is that exactly as you said, you want that driven sound for dynamics. It doesn't necessarily mean it's louder.
No.
The sound changing to a cleaner sound, to a more driven sound, will give the impression of additional volume without you having to rack up the actual volume. Because as a live engineer particularly, when you're doing like line checks and stuff like that, you go like, oh, I've got a good signal there. It's like, oh, hold on a minute, I've got a bit of distortion to play in this chorus, and click that on, and you go, like, all the speakers get blown, your ears start bleeding.
Well, that's why I'm doing this, and make sure all the levels, because that's the problem you do get with old pedals. Sometimes their input volume is just...
Yeah.
And I've had to swap pedals out before, but touch wood, them ones are looking all right. And you want to make sure... I suppose you want a little bit of a boost for the distortion, but it can't be levels and levels above, can it?
No, you don't want like a sudden 12 dB volume gain on stage.
Yeah. And
just by pressing the pedal.
Yeah.
It's just going to kill everyone.
And get a bit nerdy about pedals now. I've kind of cheated because I've got a thing called Noctibus, because I don't want to be like Michael Flatley and press 8 pedals at once. Because I use like... I'll use a delay, reverb, a chorus and a flange at the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go like that, especially sometimes I'm singing. Not that much, but I can just press one pedal. But the beauty about that as well, it means it's true bypass. So a lot of you see in guitar forms all the time, what order to put your pedals in.
Yeah.
Because you don't want certain effects to affect the other one.
Yes.
So that one's true bypass. But then I've got an external pedal board where I want these pedals to affect my true bypass board. So I've got my other one, I've got a freeze pedal for, like, again, really important for the next level of band, segues in between songs. So there's no silence.
Yeah.
I'll put a freeze pedal on to affect some like weird chorusy modulation thing. I'll put that on, and then I'll put a whammy thing on it to like change the pitch. And then that affects all the sounds. So I've got a true bypass board and just sort of a weird board that I can use for like other bits.
See, I love that, because that's not just thinking about, well, it is thinking about, but what you're bringing into that is performance and presentation, not just sound. That's like what happens in the time between the songs, as well as the songs themselves. Like what's the audience experience? Yeah. What do they hear? Like I said, right, I think that's a really good point, actually. I'm so glad you made that, because it sets you apart from the other bands who don't do that. That bit was, okay, I've finished one song and now I've got 90 seconds of silence. Yeah. Or like 90 seconds of silence whilst nothing's happening, because no one can talk to the audience and they can't remember what their next song is, and there's just nothing happening, and you don't know whether there's going to be another song or not. Or you're getting tuning up. Yeah, like I said, because there's no kill switch, so I can hear it.
It's just professionalism, really, isn't it? Like, you obviously have to tune, but that's why I've got that sustain thing, so I can tune whilst there's sound going on. If you haven't got a chatty front man, not everyone does. No. Yeah, the amount of bands I see live now where, especially a lot of new bands coming through, they're on it with the songs. Yeah. They'll have applause and they'll go straight in. You don't need to really chat as much. You don't really sometimes need to introduce the songs, especially, I think that's more when you're well known. When you're coming through, you want to introduce the songs, this is out now, whatever. But there's definitely times to do it. Like, I mean, this is part of the rehearsal process and getting yourself ready for performance, isn't it? It's thinking about the show, not just the songs. So where should the gaps be and where should the gaps not be? What are you going to say here? Yeah. It's not just learning the songs, it's learning the set as a whole. Yeah. Like, we've got an intro song we walk onto that goes into this one. We'll do the first two in a row, then we'll do introductions, then we'll do the next thing. And again, we talk about albums the whole time, it's the ebb and flow of the set. Yeah. We want to start out nice and heavy, and then we'll come down, and then we'll rise back up again, sort of thing. I'm almost waiting sometimes for we're about four songs in, maybe 5 songs in. I'm almost waiting for someone to go, right, we're going to slow things down a bit now. And, it's just like it's on a script for every band in the world. So after 4 or 5 songs, you've got to say, right, we're going to slow things down a bit now. Just do it. Who's tired? Yeah, I'm not. Are you? Who's this for? That is very true, actually. The main thing that I say in my lesson all the time, and I end up repeating myself, I should have a button that just says it all the time, but it's like, you've got to play through your mistakes. Yes. No one knows the mistake, especially in the song you've written that you've played to 3 people for. No one has any idea that you've missed an F sharp there, or you've come in 1 beat late. So don't stop. You might make the odd face, but no one else really knows about it. I think musicians can tell when there's been a mistake, because by the faces they make, if that makes sense. But the layman won't like... Much better to smile at each other and acknowledge it than look at each other as if you're an idiot. Oh, yeah. Like, just that kind of, oh, God, why did you make that mistake? Why? But we did the one the other day. My dad's told me one before. It was like, I think his lead singer was pissed and forgot the verse or whatever, and it was just like nonsense. He's just out, chorus 2, 3, and you go into the next bit. Yeah. that's just something you learn on the job as you're doing it. If you've done it, yeah.
Definitely a skill. And please, bands, introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
Say who you are. The first 5 minutes of any James Brown show was a guy on stage hyping up the audience, going,
wow.
James Brown's coming, James Brown's coming. That was his job. It said like Bob Dylan still does it. The Beatles always did it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, don't expect people to know. There's nothing wrong with saying the name of your band.
Yeah.
For God's sake, introduce your band.
Talking about pedals, lastly.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why we chose this week's album is because I downloaded a John Mayer plugin from Neural, I think it's Neural DSP, which is just insane now. So he's known for getting these like clean tones and these. I'm sort of going back on what I said now, but rather than buying a really expensive Fender or Strat or PRS, because I've got more of a metal sort of setup. So to record some nice clean tones in that are more to sort of play around with and experiment with rather than a live rig, I thought I've got to have a bit of that. Yeah. So that's how we sort of came around to this one today, didn't we?
It sounds like there's rules. There's no rules.
No.
but there is advice. Yeah. And there's good things and bad things. But yeah, so if you just do an ID copy of someone else, you're not. But that's not very original. But I think most people start their creative journey by trying to emulate someone else. Like that's what I like. I'd like to be like that. But that is partly how you find your own sound.
Yeah.
But that's the important thing. Find your own sound. But you don't have to start from scratch. You can be going. That's where I want it. That's where I want to hit. So the difficulty now is it's so easy to just copy it directly. That takes you out of that. Well, yeah, good, because we were talking guitars and you've already mentioned, let's go and do the album for this week, because it was a good segue and we skipped right over it. So this week's, because you said before that you wanted to do someone who was known as a bit of a guitar hero. Yeah. So there are people like Hendrix, we could go for. There are people like Zeppelin, obviously got Jimmy Page. But I love the fact that the one that you thought let's go for was John Mayer. So John Mayer has been on the scene since about early 2000s.
Yeah, I could believe. I went into a bit of a TikTok deep dive of him and like how long he's been around for, and like how sort of young he was when he first came, and how, oh my God, how talented he is. And his voice is like butter, isn't it? He's got all the girls in Hollywood. He's just, and he comes across as a nice bloke as well. He's one of them ones you can't really hate him. Yeah. But from such a young age, early 2000s, because I've sort of grown up with him, because I remember my dad having the Live at the Nokia Centre album, which was massive. I think that was mid-2000s, 2007 sort of thing. So that was sort of my first introduction to him. I didn't really know him as a guitarist back then, well, obviously a guitarist, but as like a sort of virtuoso sort of thing. And a lot of people
started off as a acoustic, sort of almost sort of folky. Yeah, that was his sort of vibe, was it?
Yeah, I believe so. And very blues influenced as well.
Yes, very much blues.
And then as I got more into guitar, as I got older, and just seeing him, people saying he's like our day's version of like Eric Clapton. Yeah, which is a very hard thing to say. You might laugh at that now, but in like 30, 40 years' time, when John Mayer's in his 70s or whatever, you probably look back on that. And there's so many artists like, and this album, I thought, it's not as guitar-based as I sort of hoped it would be. I can see why this is on the list, because it's very...
Yeah, this is on the... Pop. So this is Continuum, which is 2006 album, which is his out, because he has got many albums, but this one from 2006 is on the Rolling Stone 500 Best Albums of All Time list.
So only one I knew off this album... Only one I knew of straight away was Vultures, again from the Live at the Nokia Centre. I think it's one of his most famous ones anyway. And great guitar, bass, drums or whatever, and melodies. And that's the thing that caught me about this, was like, I can see non-guitarists loving this album. Like, he's got the X factor, he's a good looking guy. People are going to try and like him just for who he is, and he's got a nice voice and everything. Yeah. And it's for people that like music in general, but then it's also got the stuff with the musos, the melodies doing, and then sometimes the odd key change, the odd bit. It's like that was drawing me in more than like the whole songs themselves, because I was like, oh my God, I love what he did there. That was like, because it was just lovely guitar work. You can tell that the session musicians are unreal. Like the drum sound was incredible. Especially the first one, I thought was like...
What I was listening to that, and I thought, yeah, maybe I should mention this as a producer person with that ear. That first track particularly, I was like, how did they get the cymbals to sound like that?
The ride.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh my God, yeah. That's the first thing I noticed as well. I was like, that's so cool. And I think it's just, he's got a famous bass player. I don't know if he's on this album, but he performs it live. And they're just so tight. Yeah, great production to it. And then, what I was expecting was more of a sort of probably more of a self-indulgent sort of guitar sort of based album. But what I got was great songs with great hooks with excellent sort of musicianship as well. Yeah. I'm sure there are albums where they're a bit more self-indulgent, but this one's probably his more poppy ones from other ones I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, poppy, I know what you mean, that kind of thing. Do we mean like commercial? It's like, it's got a broader appeal, poppy, maybe?
Yeah, broader appeal. And I still really enjoy it. It's one of my, the albums that we've done previously.
Pino Palladino, is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's one, yeah. His son plays bass for Tom Misch now, what he did on an album. He's great. He's English as well, I think, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. He's got a name that doesn't sound like he should be.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he's English.
I think you're right.
Really
and I think he's one of those names who's played with
on everything,
basically everyone, yeah.
Yeah, not pop in the sense that, I think more commercial, but that doesn't mean, oh my God, it was pop. No, it was just an easy listen and again, that in a good way. It was instantly great hooks, great melodies, great musicianship, and definitely one I'll be listening to again. I thought it was really cool.
It's definitely not like a hard... especially if you kind of thought, oh, John Mayer is kind of, isn't he kind of blues influenced? And if you kind of went, I'm not sure if I like that kind of thing. I can respect Muddy Waters and B.B. King and all that bit, but I don't want to sit down and listen to an album. This is not that.
No.
You can hear the influence, and there's a couple of tracks that are more bluesy than other ones, but I wouldn't describe it as a blues album.
No.
Don't think.
Sure.
I had no real experience previously of John Mayer other than knowing his name, so I didn't really know what to expect from this album. Not big fan, especially of show-off guitar. Kind of, that's the kind of thing you get into with, especially hair metal and sort of
it was
long solos that are there for the sake of being solos. That bears no interest for me whatsoever.
Especially when it's not melodic, it's just noise.
I was going to say, I'm much more into Noel Gallagher's approach to guitar solos.
You can sing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, much more my thing. I can occasionally be impressed by something or like the melody of the guitar solo, but the technical proficiency side of it, as I said, I can admire it, but I've not got that much interest in it.
Yeah.
So I suppose I had a slight fear that that's what I was going to be hearing on this album was, wow, the guitar's amazing.
Yeah, it'd be like 12 minutes solo or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not that. I mean, it is the sonically, it's amazing. But I'm not sort of thinking, wow, what an incredible performance. But the sound is great. Like the actual sound of some of it, as we've said before, the cymbals on that first track, I was like, how are you doing that? And overall, the production and recording of it is... Maybe if I had a criticism for me, and it's only a criticism for my taste, too polished.
I see what you mean.
Everything's almost too perfect.
His voice in that, I think it's got that
amazing.
sound, like it sounds like it must be auto-tuned because it's like, but you hear him live and he's just got that, I don't know, just so naturally good.
Yeah, I think I don't think it is, like I said, auto-tune. I mean, it's 2006, you're still in sort of even early days of like very specific pitch correction. I think he's good.
Yeah.
Probably could do a little bit of tidying, but I don't think it's necessarily correction. It might be more like comping, like, okay, I'll get a good performance and that's the best take of this line rather than singing it all live. That could be part of it. But for me, it was more, as I thought about it, I thought it's more about the way it's been processed so well, if you like the way the vocal's been recorded and mixed just makes it sound, like you said, like butter. And I suppose just like butter is like, oh, I love butter. But I'm not going to sit down and eat an entire block of it. So there was a little bit of, it's just too nice. That sounds like a stupid thing to say, but if there was anything that was putting me off this album, it's too nice. And that is something that I run up against when I've said before about not getting into, especially the hugely popular American artists. That often is one of my things that I rail against, is it just sounds it's too well done. I want a little bit of, I don't know what the right word is, rough around the edges, vulnerability. That'll do-ish.
I had that this
That's
morning
okay,
with-
let's leave it now.
Yeah, there's a band called Daltrey who I don't really know of them, but there was all sort of the scene was like sort of Nickelback, sort of that sort of rock band, and somehow they're playing the O2. I didn't realise they were that massive. But there's a clip of him doing all these vocal warm-ups and press-ups, and he's getting ready for a gig.
Yeah.
And then you hear him, and it's the most like perfect, overproduced sort of stuff. It's like I don't want you here playing you like to a backing track, and I don't mind you hitting the odd note off. It's just because it sounds real. Like, don't do your vocal warm up sometimes. Like, that's bad advice. You should, but it's almost like the sound of it was just this wall of like, it just sounded like a CD.
Yeah,
and I just don't think you want to sound like live. You want to have that sort of edge to it. But again, I don't know if that's us preferring that sort of more analog sort of sound, that edge to it. I'm not sure.
This sounds really expensive. Sort of puts me off.
But then it's like inaccessible
we
as
spent
well.
a load of money on this, and like, I'm not impressed.
Yeah, exactly.
When I first put it on, I thought, this sounds great. Do I like it? I'm not sure, because the great soundingness of it was persuading me that I should like it, but it was also the same thing that was putting me off it, which is like mad. Because what I'm really interested in is how good are the songs. And I think the same thing, I was like, this is a bit too American commercial for my liking.
Especially some of the lyrics, I thought,
for
as
my
well.
taste, yeah.
I was trying to think, because there's some like war lyrics at the time, and there's like, again, the sort of song, sonically, the sound didn't suit the lyrics in some sense, like,
I know what you mean.
Didn't really like match up, and I sounded a bit cringe in parts for that bit, but...
I know what you mean. But I said I kept switching between this is too polished, too good for my taste. And like, I kept getting to the point where thinking, am I just not liking this? And to your point earlier on, then you'd do something that would make me go, ooh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Or a song that would come on that I'd go, oh, that's cool. Like Gravity, track 4 on it, I think I'd sort of, got through the first track's really good, second track, third track, and I was saying, I don't know, is this too overly polished for me? And then Gravity came out, I was like, this is cool. This is a great track. But even that one, I was like, by the time it finished, I was like, oh, it fades out. And I'm like, okay, no, sure. So I kept having that. But even like Vultures, as you said, I think it's one of his better known songs for whatever reason. And my initial thought was, oh, I know this song. I think this is quite cool. Yeah. And I thought, but do I really like it? And then by the end of it, I was thinking, I do.
Yeah. I do think it got more a bit bluesy as it went on, and a bit more guitar solos, a bit longer songs. Yeah. And I did like it when there was like a 6-minute, 7-minute track to end. I was like, do more of that. Don't do the fade outs. And I do think it was more front loaded with a bit more pop centric songs. Yeah. And I preferred the latter half. Yeah. But then again, with this album, I think it's one of the ones you could put on shuffle. Yeah. Because it's quite sonically quite the same. Yeah, it's like they're all good songs. Yeah. And that doesn't mean it's a bad album, but it's that we've listened to albums that seemed like they needed to be an album rather than a bunch of individual songs. Whereas you could almost go, well, what's the difference between listening to Continuum by John Mayer and listening to a playlist of John Mayer songs? Do they need to all be... Does it specify a time and place that's different? I don't know enough about his music to know that, how much he's kind of changed. Because I know he started off a little bit more acoustic, and I think over time he's gone a bit more bluesy. Yeah. Big troubles with his vocal cords, apparently. He's had at least 2 extended breaks when he was having some sort of issue vocally that meant he had to stop singing. Not in the studio, though. Sounds amazing. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that wasn't when he was on a break, but it was, in between, like, he would have sort of 3 years when he was literally not allowed to sing medically. He was like, just don't sing because it's going to destroy your voice. Don't know enough about the medical elements of it to be able to go into any more depth than that. The larynx. Yeah. Something like that. So it's an album that I'd have no objection to this music being played if I was in a shop or in someone's house or anything. Like, I'll put a bit of this album on. I wouldn't be going, oh, God, John Mayer. I'd be going, that's nice. Yeah. I don't know if it's 100% my scene, but I like it. I bet he's amazing live. I bet he's one of the ones you go like, oh. I tell you, I'm going to make a weird comparison to another song, another album that we've talked about recently. I think I feel the same way about this as I feel about Olivia Dean's album. Yeah. I really
I really think I really like it, but I can't quite convince myself that I really do. Because it's almost too good.
Yeah, but the Lipidema, I think it's got so much hype that you go into it being like, I mean, there's some great tracks on there.
Yeah.
But I've forgotten about most of them.
Yeah, but whenever you hear one, you go, oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's Olivia Dean, yeah.
That's kind of how I feel. I don't feel like I want to keep going back to it, but anytime I hear anything, I go, oh yes, this is really good, isn't it?
I didn't hate
and I feel a bit
it.
about this as well. It's like I've got no real desire to go back to any particular track, but if I heard it, I'd go, oh yes, it's really good, isn't it?
That'd be a great collab, them two.
Yeah,
that'd
that's
really
true.
work. Two best voices out.
That's really true. Even though we sort of picked this because we were looking for someone who's known for their guitar chops. It's not heavy on the guitar chops, is it? Really, it's not. It's not the thing that's standing out.
No, I think there's some nice guitar licks in there, but I can only remember like a few big solos.
Yeah, they're all sort of in service of the song.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
In fact, there was one song. It might even be Gravity. There's one song. For most of it, I was thinking, I don't think there's even any guitar on this. And then there's a guitar solo.
Yeah.
But up until that point, I think it was all like organ and drums and vocal and pretty sparse.
Yeah.
So,
It is quite sparse in places, this album.
Yeah.
You can tell it's only 3-4 musicians, probably the whole album, really, isn't it?
I think so.
It's just a band, which I like, and we've chatted out, keep bringing it back to my band, was like, we'll never, and like Rage Against the Machine did, it was like, no backing tracks, this is what you hear, and this is it, and I like that. I think it's quite cool.
I don't mind adding extra bits in, like, we've layered up extra guitar parts. And, if we did play this live, we won't have that extra guitar part because we don't have that extra guitarist.
Yeah.
There's that element of it, which I don't have an objection to. I don't have an objection to occasionally bringing in another key part on a recording. So like there is someone who's playing keys on this, and there isn't a keyboard player in our band.
I think as long as you can replicate it live in some sense.
Yeah, I think, or that it doesn't matter. You've just reminded me of a story. Paul McCartney, Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
Big orchestral, huge song for James Bond theme. And he'd apparently, I think it was Jeff Emmerich, I think he was talking to, was the engineer. And he said, the problem with this song is I don't know how we're going to be able to do this live because it's so big. It's got all this stuff. He said, I can't have a 40-piece orchestra on stage with me every night. And he said, do it with lights. That was that was the advice. So that when you see him play it live, it's like flashing lights and fireworks and things like that. So it's not necessarily about the sound.
Yeah.
It's the presentation.
Like the energy. Like
because
the
then the audience fills in the blanks.
Yeah.
And I think you could definitely approach that way with things. Let the audience fill in the blanks. They know those bits are missing.
Yeah.
But the presentation is key. So as long as you bring the whole energy to the performance of that track, you don't necessarily have to have all the instrumentation.
That's cool. That's really cool. Bring back to John Mayer, him live. I recommend anyone watch his live at the Nokia thing. I think it's 2007. It must be around this album because he plays Vultures on it. And sometimes there's a few people joining him. They might have 2 or 3 acoustic guitars joining him. But then sometimes it's just him and the guitar, and it just sounds incredible. And it's like sometimes you don't need, and he's playing a stadium full of people. I don't know if you could do that for a full show, like the whole Ed Sheeran thing. I think it's really impressive that he could do it all off a pedal board.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want a bit of band, a bit of drums and that as well.
Yeah, I think it is very impressive, but I think you've got to want that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Ed Sheeran can ride that because he's riding that wave of popularity and the songs that he's doing.
He hasn't got patience.
Even with Ed Sheeran, I don't know if he can carry on doing that.
No.
Tour after tour after tour.
Yeah.
I think people will get bored of that shtick.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll just be able to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Just me at Wembley Stadium with a with a loop pedal.
Insane.
Probably not.
But I enjoyed it. It's one of the albums that I think would vinyl, definitely. Again, like if you put it on, it's a perfect sort of vinyl album where you can just stick it on, dinner party vibes. And it goes seamlessly into the next song and the next song.
Yeah.
This is the sort of, not ultimate vinyl sort of album, but
it sort of is.
Collection.
It's got that vibe about it. I mean, it is 2006. It's well into CD era, but it's not, as I've objected about CD era stuff in the past, it's not overly long.
Yeah.
It's only 50 minutes. It's not like, you're here for an hour and a half. It's got a decent length to it. All the songs don't outstay their welcome. They're all good songs as well, and it is exceptionally produced. It's brilliantly polished, and I think, like you said, that analog type of sound that you get from a record player and vinyl and stuff, like I said, it just lends itself to it. That warmth, I think, comes through in the production of this itself as well. So yeah, I do agree with you that it's the sort of thing that you could pop in your vinyl collection and be proud of being there.
Like,
I've
got a John Mayer
stick
album.
on a bit of John Mayer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh, quite
John
cool.
Mayer, eh?
Yeah. He does divide opinion among guitarists, which I don't really see. I do think it's because he's got everything. He's got the voice. He's got the girls in Hollywood. He's got a bit of, and he can play the guitar amazingly. So I'm a fan. It does make me want to listen to more stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could sort of deal with listening to an album with full-on like guitar solos for like 12 minutes long each. So I think this is a good album to dip your toe into.
Yeah, and it feels to me like a different thing, and I kind of get that idea of blues guitarists as being maybe more my scene than those kind of show-off electric, big
Fret wanking
solo.
it's called.
Yeah, fret wanking. Fret wanking. I can't even think of. I'm even trying to think of who does that.
Well, Metallica, the stuff like that.
That's well known for that.
Guns
N'
N' Roses, like that doesn't like it's verse, chorus, solo, chorus. The same structure. The solo was just the bridge, and that's why I fell in love with nu metal, because it's more riff based. So like, let's get rid of solos.
Yeah.
And my favourite Metallica album, not that I've listed loads, is probably most hated one, St. Anger. They tried to be different. They didn't do solos. They made the really weird snare sound. They sounded heavy. They did more riffs. That's like, it's just something you could fall back on, I suppose. It's just like, we don't have anything else to do. Let's do a solo here, sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you can.
Okay, cool. We'll be back again with another ramble chat about some nonsense next time. And that was a Continuum by John Mayer, 2006 album. It is on the Rolling Stone 500 list. That's a couple we've done on the list now.
Oh, wow.
It's like we're back on back on the old songs. You can find us on Instagram, Apollo Audio Podcast. If you want to email us, I mean, nobody does, but you can. It's apolloaudiopod@gmail.com. But you'll find us on all social media things. More importantly, we would love to hear from you if you're interested in the music business, if you want tuition, if you have a band you want to rehearse, if you're ready to record, if you want to start thinking about your EP, your album, or a live session, just to connect with where you're at right now with your audience, get in touch with us. We are at apollo-audio.co.uk. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
You sure you forgive me?